Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I'd like to welcome you to my backyard on this beautiful overcast morning. It's nice and cool. We're not burning up and I'm enjoying this break. Now, today we're going to talk about a very, very important medicinal red clover. Now, I have a huge patch of it behind me, and I let it grow, and I'll harvest it. And let me show you. This is the heads that you want to harvest. They're full and pretty, and you'll put them in the basket. This one has seen better days. It's spent, so please don't harvest it. Now there's another thing you have to look for. Hold on just a minute. Now if you can see it, it's a white, it's called powdery mildew. You do not want to harvest any red clover that has the powdery mildew. Now unfortunately, a lot of this patch has it, but if you pick carefully, like this one has no powdery mildew on the leaves. You gotta check underneath and on the top, and the head's perfect. This is what I'm harvesting, a little bit of the leaves and the heads, and I'm going to dehydrate them. I'd like to tincture them up, but you do what you can. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the medicinal benefits of this amazing plant. Now, of course, I'll have more information in the description box below. It is well known, of course, for menopausal women, and it helps stop hot flashes and night sweats. Also, a lot of people don't know that it's an expectorant as well. It helps break up the mucus in your lower lungs and cause you to cough it out. It thins the mucus. Another thing a lot of people don't know, this herb medicinal plant helps build mineral intake into your body, and it helps slow down bone loss. So if you have a family history of osteoporosis, sorry, too many big names to remember. It can help slow down the effects of osteoporosis, and it can help build your bones back. It also helps with your heart and opening the vessels so the blood pumps easier. And there's just so many wonderful, wonderful benefits of this wonderful medicinal. Now I'm going to get busy harvesting, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. Of course, now it was tall and pretty. It got beat down by the rain, but that's okay. It has moisture nutrients in it. And of course, you want to inspect them, make sure that there's no powdery mildew. If the leaves have powdery mildew, strip the leaves off. The heads are fine. And what I do is I take my 2 fingers, go up under the bud, and pull. And use my thumb to snip them. Those leaves are fine. Now, since powdery mildew has broke out in this patch, after I make this harvest, unfortunately I'm going to have to weed eat it down, but you know what? It's going to pop right back up and grow just fine. Alright, I will bring you back after I harvest some more. Alright, I am almost done picking for the day, because my old body's telling me it needs a break. I'm over in my second patch. where thankfully powdered mildew has not hit yet. The other patch is really pretty bad, so I didn't get a whole lot picked over there. I've been having fun hearing the bees buzz around and harvest along with me. A few spiders here and there, and the birds have been singing just beautifully. So it's been a good day, or good morning. You definitely want to harvest them during the morning time after the dew. See, here's a little bit of the powdery mildew trying to start up. You have to keep an eye out because you definitely don't want to grab any that have the powdery mildew, and you also don't want to grab a bee or a bumblebee, because they don't like that, not one bit. The falcon flying over telling me good morning. Always happy to see my falcons. Alright. I almost got at 3/4 of the way, but that's a good, big, beautiful harvest of red clover. Now to get it cleaned up, picked through, make sure that there's no powdery mildew, which I double check before I pick the flowers, and make sure the bugs get a chance, the little spiders and stuff get a chance to escape. Alright, I'm fixing to head to the shed of many names so I can put these in the dehydrator, and I'll bring you back for that. See you here at the wall. Well, hello everyone. We are made it to the shed of many names, where I have my 2 dehydrators loaded up with the screens and ready to get this red clover, beautiful red clover, on into the dehydrators. And there's a whole lot more than you think's here, and that's wonderful. So I already have my mats, my screens on my trays. That way, as they dry, the little buds, the single flowers, do not fall through. Now, they have been cleaned and as dried as possible, and we're going to get them loaded. Now, if you're new to dehydrating, welcome to the fun of dehydrating. And you're going to want to keep your center empty from debris and not blocked, because that's how airflow gets through. One of many ways that airflow gets through. Another wonderful way is through these silicone mats. And I love my silicone mats. Now, if you don't have them, you can use parchment paper. You're going to have to cut it to size and poke holes in them. You can use that. Okay, there's one tray. And if they don't fit down perfectly, that's okay. As they dehydrate, the trays will match up. And of course, they've wilted a little bit, which is fine. That helps you get a lot of the moisture out. Let's find a good one. And see, I get just the top leaves with the bloom as often as I could, because well, hold on a minute. Let me think here. I done got tired. Powdery mildew, that's a magic word, had gotten onto a lot of them, and I won't harvest the greens if they have powdery mildew on it, because that can mess your whole batch of anything you harvest up. And I don't like the thought of making any kind of medicine that has what I deem a sickness on it, because you want good fresh material. And what you're going to do is just keep on stacking, because this is a whole lot more than it looks like. And I try not to get a whole lot of stem on there, but you want a little bit of the stem. And of course, once this dries, and I go to crush it and mix it up, it's going to break down a whole lot more than people think it's going to. And in my red clover, I like to make sure that there's some leaves in with the flowers and not just flowers, because the whole plant's medicinal. But I do try to get as many of the flowers as possible. And that way it's a balanced mix. And this is the last tray for this dehydrator. I'm going to be pushing it close to having room in both of them. I might have to go back and add a little bit more to some of these. And of course, when you get done loading them, you're going to want to make sure and make sure none's fell through the hole. I usually use a canning jar lid to protect the hole so they don't fall through, but I totally forgot to grab one. Okay, that's one dehydrator full. I'm going to fill this up and I will bring you back as soon as I'm done. Okay, I got one full dehydrator, and the second dehydrator has 3 full trays. I put the top tray on because the lid fits better when you use the correct tray. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, you can make your own drying screen. Use screen door screen and staple it to a sturdy wood frame. Light enough wood where you can hang it and put your hooks on it, and you can do it that way. I prefer doing the dehydrating because I know for a fact you want to make sure that these get completely dry, even to the core of those blooms. You want to make sure they're dry, or your product will mold on you in the jar if it's not completely dry. I'm going to plug these in here in a bit, and then I'm going to come back and check them in the morning. Since they're fairly full, I'm going to give them about 10 hours because I want to make sure these babies are dry. And I will bring you back in the morning. See y'all later. Take care. Okay, welcome back. It's the next morning. They are dry and they have acclimated. And let's try our first tray. Good and crispy, and they break up, which I'm going to break them up very well. Uh-oh, you can't see. Okay. I'm going to break them up that way. When you go to make the tea, you'll get a little bit of not only the flowers, but you'll get the leaves as well. And always check under your trays to make sure that everything gets off. They're good and very dry. And I will bring you back once I get all the dehydrators unloaded and a little bit more room. Okay, I have got the 2 dehydrators unloaded. Now, always make sure that your countertop or your workspace is sanitized and clean. Make sure that your jars are sanitized and clean, and so are your hands and any utensils that you use. Now I'm going to be storing mine in half-gallon jars for now. If you have smaller jars, use them. Mylar bags, you can use them. And what I'm going to do is I want to break it up a bit. And it gets fuzzy, so don't worry because your flowers come apart. But doing it this way means you get an equal balance of leaves and, leaves and flowers. And it smells so good. You want to use a little bit at a time. And of course, since your countertops are clean and sanitized, anything that doesn't make it into the jars, you can scoop up and put into the jar. And they are completely dry. And I will say, once you cut off the dehydrators because they're dry and let them acclimate, you want to get them in your jars or whatever you're going to store them in as soon as possible, because any moisture around you in the air, it's going to start soaking it up. And that's the last thing you want. And I like to get as much into my jars as possible because I'm definitely going to be drying a whole bunch more. And the least amount of jars used is best. And it gives less room for oxygen and other stuff to get into the jar. And if lucky, I'm going to get all this. And believe me, this jar is going to be tightly packed. You want to make sure you get all that powder in as well. Because that's what I affectionately call flour dust. And like I always say, waste not, want not. And I was blessed to get it all in that jar. Which y'all can see just how much that was. Look at that beautiful jar of red clover. And of course, I have my Sharpie marker. Always label your jars. Red clover. And I done it 5/22. Give me just a minute. Okay, now that I'm done putting the red clover in, dried red clover, into the jar, here after a while I'm going to vacuum seal the jar and it's going to be perfectly fine. Simple, easy, anybody can do this. All you need is the fresh red clover growing around you, or also, as I know, as purple clover, because that's the color it is. But now, if you don't want to dehydrate it, you can screen dry them, or if you're blessed to have a freeze dryer, you can freeze dry it as well. Simple, easy, anybody can do this. You just have to believe in yourself. And 1/2 gallon crammed packed jar of medicinal wonderful. And I am so thankful to have it. And I'm hoping to get at least 2, maybe 3 more jars out of this season, hopefully. As long as everything goes right and the powdery mildew doesn't take over. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I will answer you as soon as possible. Now, for making red clover tea, the amount will be 1 tablespoon of the mixed dry flowers and a little bit of leaves. 1 tablespoon to 1 cup of water. Bring your water up just to simmer, just to start steaming. Take it off the heat. Make sure you have a tight fitting lid. Take it off the heat. Add your tablespoon into either a infuser ball, or just put your dried red clover in the hot water, put the lid on, and let it set and steep for 10 minutes. Once that's done, strain it if you want to, or you can actually consume the flowers and the dried leaves because they'll be rehydrated, and they are a food source as well. Simple, easy. You can do it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and it encourages you also to either harvest your red clover or grow it yourself. Just please make sure you don't harvest close to a road because of contamination. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. May you each be blessed. I'll see you soon. Take care.